Let's get started, shall we? Okay, we'll get started on the special council meeting to discuss the long-term financial plan and the draft budget update. So firstly, I'd like to welcome everyone here. I'd like to welcome people who are watching on YouTube. I'd like to acknowledge the land that we meet on tonight is the traditional lands for the Kaurna people, and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region, and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Kaurna people today. So roll call, Jim is a non-attender. He's not an apology. He hasn't apologised to me. Nathan has apologised. Jim is a non-attender. Yes, thank you. Motions to grant leave of absence. Are there any motions to grant leave of absence, councillors? There be none. There are no leave of absence on the books. Declarations of interest. Any declarations of interest? Be none. So we move on to decision reports, and we've got recommendations from the Audit and Risk Committee. Looking for a mover and a seconder to move the recommendation item 6.1. Councillor Fraser, are you happy to move that way? Councillor Hughes, Deputy Mayor Hughes, are you happy to second? Any discussion?
Yeah.
No? David Hughes?
Just briefly, I think it item number 3, looking at the commercial and industrial properties review, I think, yeah, that's timely. So I think that's good. So yeah, happy to second the motion.
No worries. Any other discussion? If not, I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please tick green. All those against, cross. Carried unanimously. Thank you. So we move to item 6.2, review of the long-term financial plan. How do you wish to proceed, Council? Deputy Mayor Hughes, are you happy to move that way? Do you wish to speak at all?
Just briefly, just to commend all the staff for the work on this document. It's really quite a lot of effort, and it sort of tries to go above the guesstimate with actually putting some actual figures of some projects and where we'll be in the future. It's a lot of work by staff, and I think it's actually really good work, and it's a good guideline for our community if people do don't want to ask us where we're heading and what we're thinking in the future. So I think it's a really good guidebook for council.
Are you happy to second, Councillor Samble?
Yes, I certainly am, and reiterate what the Deputy Mayor has said. Hell of a lot of work, especially in these times that we're going through at the moment. I quite often sort of think, how in the hell are the books managed with the amount of way we're spending the money? But like a couple of people said, it's only money. But I'm happy to second this and congratulate all that's been involved with putting this together.
Any other discussion? If not, Deputy Mayor, are you happy for me to put the motion? Where are you? Can't see you. You've disappeared. Where's he gone? Can't see him. Let me... I can't.
Yeah, he's been waving to you.
No, I can't see him. I actually can't. I can't see him on the screen because fit to window, 50%. Try that. No. Side by side. No. I can't see anybody at the moment.
He's smiling at you.
No,
Yeah, well, he's all go. He said, yeah.
I can't. Oh, there we go. All right. I still can't see him. It's too big. All right. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please vote. Again, you might need to take your previous votes off. And vote again. Yeah. So that's carried unanimously. Thank you. What's the matter, David? Sorry, somebody's coming into the room.
Are you all right to see now?
No, I can't see everybody. I'm trying to
The view options.
Yeah, but
that's perfect. And then if you just expand, there's David Hughes, and I see him too below you.
yeah, but
We have
that's not it. It only goes to 50%. Fits to window.
which is what you're on at the moment.
Yeah, and I can't see everyone because
Who's
they're,
missing?
well, there's
Okay.
everyone over there, but then they get bigger.
Okay.
They get bigger.
That's what's happening.
So I can't actually see
Oh,
everyone.
chief participants is blocking it. That's what it is.
Yeah, but I need to
Yeah, I
see
know.
I need to
know.
see that. That's why I've got it there, because if I need to see that.
Yeah, that's what's blocking them because they're behind that.
Okay, so how do I get that to
So
the
you can move
side?
that to the other screen.
Oh, I need it right in front of me. Okay. Oh, it's over
Yep.
there.
Uh,
Normally it works fine, but anyway, sorry everyone. We'll keep moving.
because they're hiding behind your participant. Isn't there?
Yeah. But I can't see them. Okay. All right. So I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please vote now. Sorry about that. We're just trying to sort my screen out. It's not working very well. Okay. Carried unanimously. Thank you. We'll move over the page to review of draft annual budget. We need a mover and a seconder. Or we can just not do it if you want. It's up to you. Councillor Sambo, you happy to move that way?
Happy to move that, and certainly a lot of work's been put into it. I don't very often read all this stuff, but very well presented. So I ask people to support it.
And I think it's seconded by Deputy Mayor Hughes. Is that right, David?
Yeah, I did have my hand up. And yeah, I think it's really important that we always read our reports as councillors so we know what we're voting on. Yeah, no, this is sort of in line with our past discussions and mainly noting. But yeah, I think it's all good.
No worries. Any other discussion? Anyone else got their hand up? No. Okay. I'll put that motion. All those in favour? All those against? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Now we'll move over to page 6, review of the long-term financial plan.
Mayor?
Yeah.
I think it's got Councillor Little's name as seconding that last motion, not Councillor Hughes.
Should be Deputy Mayor Hughes.
Yeah, thanks.
It was Deputy Mayor Hughes that seconded that. Thanks for that pick-up, David. Okay, so review of the long-term financial plan. Are you happy to move that way, Councillor Goldstone? Do you wish to speak at all? No, not at all. Okay. Look, I'm actually going to say a few words. You wish to second, Councillor Little? Good. Long-term financial plans are really, I mean, we have to do them under legislation. However, we need to stick to them as well. And I think the long-term financial plan that we've got is quite responsible. It looks at debt reduction, it looks at our financial indicators, and if we stick to that, we will remain sustainable. And that's what we need, that's where we need to be every single year. People bring up the pressure on ratepayers, and that's what this long-term financial plan addresses, is how we can offset the cost from ratepayers through various means, not just taking out more loans, but actually reducing our loan debt and investing in our town properly. Okay, Councillor Hughes, are you happy to move? You happy to speak? You wish to speak?
Yeah, just briefly, yeah, agreeing with what you're saying. But it's also, there is flagged in here major projects for the benefit of our community that they're after, like Calbeaton Reserve works, the swimming pool. We're not just rolling along business as usual each year. We are actually, as you said, looking at debt reduction so we can actually do major projects that benefit our whole community. So, as I said earlier, the long-term financial plan is something that ratepayers or anyone having a look at it can actually see this is what council's long-term plans are. And there's, yeah, as I said, there's a massive body of work behind it. And yeah, it's quite a good document that's been produced.
Thank you. Councillor Koch.
Yeah, I'm happy to support this. It's a responsible budget and it shows the community that we are looking to have a sustainable future financially. I remember when I got onto council many years ago, we were borrowing $3 million a year for 3 years in a row to do capital works. And I'm glad we got to a point where we're no longer doing that and we're actually living within our means. So it's very important that we have this long-term financial plan, that we stick to it, because that way we can achieve the goals that we've set for our community. For example, down the track, Calbeaton and the pool, because they're the big iconic projects that the community have been promised. So it's important that we stick to the plan. Thank you.
Any other discussion? If not, are you happy for me to put the motion, Councillor Goldstone? Oh, Councillor Little, you've got your hand up. Do you wish to speak? No, you're all right. Okay. Councillor Goldstone, are you happy for me? I can't see you. Hang on. Where are you? No.
If you put the motion there.
You happy for me to put the motion?
Yes.
Okay. Come on. All right. If people are already voting, I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please vote now. Carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to draft budget update 222-223. Okay. Councillor Samble, you've got your hand up.
Happy to so move.
You want to move that? Okay, which endorsement informed by outcomes. So is there anyone who wishes to move any motions without notice before we go straight in? Is anyone wishing to do that in any way? I'm just giving people the opportunity. Councillor Fraser? I can't hear you, Di. You're mute.
I want to talk about a couple of things. I just have to find them, that's all.
Just before we go straight into that, I'll give people an opportunity, because this is our first opportunity to move things around if we so wish.
Yeah.
Are you looking at attachment 4, Di? Budget bids?
No. Attachment 7. Am I on the wrong thing, am I?
Attachment 7, okay. Yep, new initiatives, no. Budget bids, elected member bids. Is that what you're looking at? Yeah. Okay, yep.
There's one in there that I put in for the bike things at the toilets. Mm-hmm. And it came back that it could be incorporated into the furniture, the outdoor furniture thing. So shouldn't it be removed from the budget then, if it can be incorporated in another division?
So Paul Hallward,
I'm trying to find it.
that can be, there's a couple of explanatory that you might want to just clarify for Councillor Fraser. Existing, so that would be in the new budget, the draft budget.
It's on page 2 of 2.
Yeah, I know, I can see it. It's bike rack at toilet blocks.
Yeah, and it says it can be funded through the existing street furniture budget. So shouldn't it come out of this if it's going to be incorporated in another section?
Through you, Mayor Karen, the reason why we're showing it, I guess, as a below the line budget bid at this stage is really just to be, in terms of being fully transparent relative to the movement of the bids above or below the line. And Councillor Fraser, as you rightly mentioned, the discussion has been that from an administration perspective, we could fund it from within the existing street furniture budget, which we will do. Is just really to demonstrate, I guess, for anyone wanting to follow, critique the movement with budget bids, that at this juncture to show it as a below the line budget bid, so anyone reading the documents can follow that audit trail
Okay, all right.
of
Okay,
bids previously presented.
And further question is that we got an email during the week to say that there was some more money. Is that right, that we can utilise?
Through you, Mayor Karen, just saying, Councillor Fraser, more money. I just need you to be a bit more specific. What funding are you referring?
I'm trying to think what it was. It was about $200 and something thousand or something that we had savings that had been found. And if I'm reading it correctly, I might have been reading it incorrectly. That we could, perhaps bring some things above the line that were below the line.
Well, through you, Mayor Karen, the only, well, I guess one of the key adjustments we've done relative to the budget is the only key material movement has been the movement of the timing of the boundary reform money, but
yes,
that is not a saving. That is purely a deferral of the timing. So we've removed it from the 21-22 budget, put into 22-23. But to answer your question specifically, I'm not aware of any recent discussion relative to additional money on the table.
It wasn't additional, it was from that when you're talking about it. I was just trying to recollect what it was. Yeah.
Just on that, on the boundary reform money, we got a letter from the Boundary Commission saying they were going to proceed and do some aspects of investigation as soon as practicable. That was in the letter. Now, we shared that with everyone, which is encouraging. However, why are you cutting it 125 next year and then 125 the year after? How do we know that that's going to be enough? Because we thought it was going to be 250. Why have you cut it in half for the next 12 months?
Through you, Mayor Karen, look, it's really just based on at this stage indicative timing of the work that will be undertaken, because it is obviously a sizable piece of work that the Commission will be undertaking, and we're of the view that the work wouldn't be completed necessarily before 30 June 2023, such that at this stage we're still obviously reflecting the same total dollars of 250,000. We're just recognising that the timing of the work is likely to straddle both the 2022-23 and 23-24 financial years. But that timing is very indicative at this stage.
Just another question. Has the Boundaries Commission told you, because that's not been in any correspondence that I've received, have they told you that's what it's going to be?
Through you, Mayor Karen, no, we haven't had any specific advice in that regard. It's purely based on the anticipated timing of the work that would occur based on the information we've received. But look, whether it's 50-50 or 75-25, we can't sit here now and say definitively what it would be. The important thing is that we do have the funding provided for across the 2 financial years.
But what if we need 250 next year? Because they're already starting. They're going to start as soon as practicable, and it's March. So I'd suggest they'd start before the end of the financial year, not after. That's what that sort of, it's not unreasonable to assume that. So we've got no money now allocated until the new financial year. Is that correct?
Well, through you, Mayor Karen, what we're proposing with the year 22-23 budget is the deferral of the full 250,000. However, that would formally go through the third quarter budget review process, which would be tabled to council in May. So I would suggest that hopefully over the next few months that we would receive more definitive information relative to the timing of the work occurring, such that prior to council striking the budget in June, we'd be able to make any necessary adjustments to the budget relative to the timing of that work, such that if there was, for example, as you suggest, if there was going to be part of the expense incurred, for example, towards the end of this financial year, that it would be at that juncture later on in the budget process that we would be able to make those adjustments.
Why would we take it out completely and not and put ourselves in a position where we have to go to a final budget review process? Why would we do that?
Well, through the chair, it's purely just to reflect the indicative timing of the works. So if we were of the view that the works were to commence sooner, then we would be able to make that adjustment to the timing of the works, noting that the third quarter budget review also be presented to council in May. All we're suggesting at this stage is indicative timing of the works, but the timing of the works relative to the budget can be adjusted as more information comes to hand.
But we sort of don't need to do anything at the moment. I'm just a bit puzzled, that's all, that we are removing it and then we might have to put it back in when we wouldn't need to do anything. I don't quite understand that logic. Well,
through the chair, from an accounting perspective, it just simply boils down to the anticipated timing of the works that would occur relative to each of the financial years. And at this stage, we were suggesting that it would be the payments would be incurred in the 22, 23 and 23, 24 financial years. But if council is of the opinion that that's not correct, then we can make the suitable timing adjustments and reflect them in the budget.
Yeah, because we haven't had a report that's clarified that. It's just come up in the budget. It's just been moved. I'm just a bit puzzled. David Barrett, you've got some more information, have you?
Yes, through the chair, there was an attachment with the letter from the Boundaries Commission that says that if council accepts the proposal, once we get the costs in April/May, then council agrees to the cost. The commission would go through tender process in May and July and wouldn't commence the actual works until August 22. And then they wouldn't commence any community consultation until February 23. So it may be that we have to expend the full amount in the new financial year, but there won't be any expenditure on the investigation in the current financial year. This information came after the budget papers went out to members for this meeting. So there will be an update provided in due course once we get the information from the Boundaries Commission. But suffice to say, there will be no expenditure current financial year. It'll be next financial year only.
That's what I was asking, for some clarity around, and you're the first person who's told me that. So thank you, David, for that clarity around them doing work in August of this year. They're not very quick, are they? Okay. Right. Any other? So we've got two. We've got, you got questions, Councillor Kosh and Deputy Mayor? Okay. So I'll take the questions because I just don't want to miss, I don't want to have elected members say they didn't have an opportunity to move things around if they wanted to do so. I simply would, with all due respect, Councillor Samble, if you could just let me finish. I did say that we could have motions without notice on items in the budget if members so choose, and I think now's the time to do that. Councillor Kosh, then Councillor Hughes, then Councillor Fraser.
Thanks, Mayor. This is just a question about a budget, elected member budget bid. Is that okay to ask a question now?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Now, I put a budget bid in to put smart sensors into bins, and
yes,
the response back from staff was they didn't think it was necessary. Now, how do I progress that? My view is I think this is an initiative that will improve efficiency. So how do I? I mean, I've asked a question about the frequency of bins being emptied, and there's an issue around hygiene and whatever, this frequency. But I think I think it should be triggered by the level of the material in the bin. It's got big bins. I mean, it gets a bit technical, but yeah. So how do I progress this? Do I put another submission in, or do I need to argue my case?
No, tonight is the night to move motions without notice.
Okay, well, it's just sitting there. But so I should prepare another. I should prepare another story about that. Yeah, another.
No, you can move a motion tonight.
Well, no,
you can move a motion tonight. You need to get support for the motion.
Well, it's below the line at the moment, so
you are entitled to move a motion without notice to move, for example, smart bin trial to above the line and see if you get support.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that now.
Yes, I think it's worth doing that before we actually go back to that draft budget update. Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to move a motion that item P220690 smart bin trial be moved above the line, and the reason behind that it's an efficiency program, and that if it's implemented, we could find cost savings by not necessarily emptying half-empty bins, but emptying bins that are at a point that need to be emptied. For example, I was in Borough the other weekend, and I noticed that their bins, had an amount in it on the Sunday. So obviously they don't empty their bins every day. I was in McLaren Vale on Sunday, and it was the same thing. I went around checking some bins, the same thing. So my concern is that we're emptying bins more on a timetable, but not on a need to empty the bin. So this smart bin trial will help us improve the efficiency of how we manage our waste. So I'm asking for support to move this above the line. Thank you.
Do I have a seconder? A couple of people with their hands up. Are you happy to move? Are you happy to second Deputy Mayor Hughes? Is that what have I got that right?
Yeah, I'm happy to second. I do think that we've probably got way too many bins. I think the number in the report was over 100 bins or something like that. There's a lot of bins where the state government has actually removed a lot of their bins from a lot of areas, and it actually hasn't made a lot of difference with litter, with people taking their own litter away from them with them. But yeah, happy to look at a trial because we do. But I think there is already existing contracts or something like that as well that would probably be an issue. But yeah, I don't know whether this motion is the way to address the bins or not. But I do think that servicing them every day, whether that's because there's needs there or not, but actually having the measuring device, I think would be good.
Any other discussion? We have Councillor Fraser, you've got your hand up. did you want to speak to that motion?
I was wondering what the cost of it was, Paul. I can't find it in here quickly. So
yeah, I mean, I've put in 10,000, but I think it'd be a lot less. It's about $200 per bin.
Okay.
So we just choose the number of bins that we need.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Horwood?
Thank you, Mayor Karen. I just wanted to, before we sort of get too boldly into moving bids above and below the line, which I accept this is part of the process, I just want to emphasise to council, as I've noted in the report, from an operational perspective, the draft budget is essentially a break-even budget, and just need to be conscious of the fact that if council is wanting to add additional costs to the budget, there will be obviously implications of that pushing us into deficit. So council may wish to turn their mind to, well, if they want to put a bid above the line, consideration of whether there might be bids that go below the line to compensate, or something else, because otherwise if we're continually adding dollars to the budget, it'll just be pushing us into a deficit position. I just wanted to provide that clarity.
Thank you, Paul, for that clarity. This isn't a large bid, but yes, thank you for those clarifying comments. Any other discussion? If not, Councillor Kosh, are you happy for me?
Yeah. I just, the only thing I want to say is that it's not every single bin. It would probably be only the bins in the main street, for example. So it would be just because they're the ones that are probably the ones that might be, over-serviced, I think, maybe. So it would just be, it's just a trial. It's $200 a bin for the sensors. So it wouldn't be every single bin. It'd be just a certain amount just to trial it. That's all it is.
I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour, please vote. All those against, please vote. It's carried. Thank you. Any other motions without notice? We'll deal with them now. Now, I think I saw your hand up first, Deputy Mayor Hughes, and then Councillor Fraser.
It's probably, it's to do with attachment 6. I think it's page 82. It's the fourth item down. Graffiti contractor maintenance, Shumbrook Drive.
Hang on, attachment 6.
Yep. It's potentially a bit of cost savings, maybe, but
I can't see graffiti on there. Attachment 6. On the other page. Hang on.
New initiatives.
New initiatives, yeah. Which number? Would you have? Is it on the page?
20644.
0644.
Graffiti contractor maintenance of Shumbrook Drive.
Oh, it's the first page?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
I think it's
that's above the line.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I agree with removing the graffiti from the corrugated iron fences, but talking to residents as I walk through there, I haven't actually heard a negative comment on the bridge graffiti. Some people who actually live in that area are actually quite proud of the bridge graffiti. And my concern would be if you remove the graffiti from the bridge, which would have been quite difficult to put there in the first place, would you be encouraging then other people to actually put graffiti back again and putting people at danger? But yeah, some of the local residents actually think it's pretty good, as being the feedback I've got from landowners that live nearby. But yeah, I do agree that any time the fence gets graffiti, it should be removed. But I don't know, is there some way we can have a graffiti judge or something like that, so we're not just constantly removing graffiti from bridges maybe that might be dangerous? And yeah, it's a balancing, but I think we're setting ourselves up for change every year.
Who wants to answer that question? I think that's yours, Sam.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. The allowance basically is for areas of graffiti that our existing volunteers just can't access because of the elevated nature as well as the complex access arrangements. It's not just the bridge over the South Parra, but it's also some of the large culverts that are in that vicinity, in the headwalls. So it covers over the full gamut. At this point, we don't have any mechanism to warrant, as I understand it, keeping of any graffiti. And it's a blanket rule, but maybe it's something the council could turn its attention to. Councillor Hughes, as if that's something that needs to be considered otherwise, but it is an allowance for a twice yearly clean-up in areas that aren't able to be accessed by graffiti volunteers.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, it was just a question I had. I don't know whether any other councillors have a view on it or not, but I certainly find that those that have graffiti the galvanised iron fences, it's good to see that graffiti removed. But yeah, some of the artworks are pretty amazing on the bridge, especially.
The shark.
Yeah, it's quite famous.
It's a pretty good shark. Yeah, it'd be a shame to see that go, but there you go. Well, you can move it down below the line, but I don't know if that would be very, it's up to you. No? Okay, now Di Fraser and then Councillor Dave.
I'm going back to boundary reform. The 125,000, we haven't got any in this budget at all, is that right? It's not till the
what David clarified is staff have received correspondence to say that they will start the investigations, the investigations that doesn't require community consultation in August. So that then allows that money to, it would have been nice to have been given that information a bit earlier, but that's okay. That allows that money to fund that. Now, I don't know how much that will cost because we've only got 125 for that full financial year.
For the next financial year, is that right?
22-23, yeah, July to July.
That's okay. I had a feeling when Paul was talking earlier, he was talking about 23, 24 and then 24,
well,
25.
they're going to split it over 2 years.
Yeah. But there will be 125 in this budget we're working on.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor Davies?
Yeah.
Where you are, Cody, so we can see.
What's that?
Tell us where you're looking so we can look as well.
Oh, sorry. This is just a comment on the previous one about the graffiti. Just mentioning that there are. It has been suggested to me before, like legal graffiti walls and that kind of thing. We do have, when we're in terms of the youth space and stuff, we do have street art, people teaching it and that kind of thing. So I don't have any budget bid for that kind of thing yet, but I thought I'd bring it up as something we could investigate.
Okay, thank you. Any other motions without notice in regard to budget bids before I go back to Councillor Samble and his motion? No? Okay. So, Councillor Samble, back to you. You've moved this motion. Do we have a seconder for the motion? No? Councillor Little, I think you put your hand up. Are you happy to second? Thank you. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll put that motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands, or please vote, I should say. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. And I close the meeting at, what's the time? At 8:42.